In a wedding, you see a middle-aged woman and you ask, "Excuse me, are you the mother's bride?" And she answers very angry, say, "No, I am the bride's mother." What's the problem? The problem is that you confused the apostrophe S and your real question was, "Are you the woman that is going to get married today?" And that's not the facts, right? The fact was that she was the mother of the girl who was going to get married today, right? Or that day. But don't worry, everything is going to be fine, because now I am going to explain how to use the apostrophe S in English to show ownership or possession, right? So let's go to our PowerPoint presentation, but let me before remind you of giving me your likes, your suggestions, your comments, because we are a great family and this is all very valuable for all of us in order to share, in order to learn, in order to exchange our knowledge, our experience, our practice, and enjoy ourselves doing this in this channel. Let's now go to our PowerPoint presentation. Alright, and now we are here at a PowerPoint presentation, session 2, apostrophe S. Normally, in old times, it was known as the Saxon genitive, right? And here you can see in the image some examples of the apostrophe S used, first of all, with the singular noun, my father's car, with the plural noun. When it's plural ending in S, we simply write the apostrophe after the S, right? Because if you write the apostrophe S and then one more S, it's difficult to pronounce, right? For this reason, when it's plural ending in S, we write the apostrophe after the S. So, my parents' house. And when we are working with irregular plurals, there's no problem, because they don't end in S, and as a consequence of that, it's easy to pronounce. So we simply write apostrophe S, like in the children's room. By the way, as you can see, today we have changed our background and we are here in Amsterdam, right? We are broadcasting from Amsterdam, one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, and a place where English is very, very frequently spoken. Alright, so first of all, let's correct the practice that I gave you last week about the infinitive, the imperative, and present, right? So let's go. This was what you had to do, no? Fill in the gaps with the verbs in brackets, the image, everything the same as we saw last week. Now, at what time do your parents have breakfast? In this case, this is a normal question in English with present simple, and you have to use do to ask the question. This is the auxiliary verb, and the verb is have, right? We know that we have to use present simple because there isn't any adverb of frequency that shows a momentary time, right? A specific time. For this reason, if there's no specific time, we always understand it's present simple. Does anybody in your family work remotely? This is a question. And a question about anybody. Anybody is third person singular. For this reason, we have to use does. And work would be the verb, right? It rains a lot here in the north. I mean, it's something that normally happens. For this reason, we are using present simple ending in S because it's a third person singular. And then at the end, you can read this time expression this week. This week shows that it's at this moment, a specific period of time, right? For this reason, we have to use present continuous. It isn't raining. Dad always, rarely, sometimes has lunch in his workplace. This is a normal affirmative sentence in present simple with an adverb of frequency. Remember that I told you that the best place to use adverbs of frequency is just before the verb, right? Unless it's the verb to be. If it's the verb to be, it's after the verb to be. Turn up the volume. That is an imperative, right? There isn't any subject. There isn't any to of infinitive. Consequently, it's just the verb, and consequently, it's an infinitive. We are given an order, right? Turn up the volume. Don't turn up the volume of your mobile. Switch off the TV. All these two are also imperatives, are orders, right? Don't turn up, this is a negative imperative. Switch off, this is a positive imperative. She's tasting her soup to check if it's hot. We are talking about a soup. Consequently, if we're talking about tasting a soup, it's obvious that we're talking about something that is happening now, right? So in this case, there isn't any adverb of frequency, but we know it's now because we are talking about tasting one soup. So it must be at any given moment, right? For this reason, she's tasting her soup. Third person singular with ease. Present continuous. Let's go home now. Don't be afraid of the cable car. Let's go home now is the softer type of imperative, right? With let's, that makes it softer. And the other one is a normal negative imperative with the verb to be, right? Don't be afraid. Be careful, because this is the only case in which we use do with the verb to be, right? In the negative imperative. In the other cases, as you know, the verb to be always makes negatives and questions directly without any need of an auxiliary verb. They're never at home at 11 o'clock, right? This is the verb to be. There, they are, with the adverb of frequency never, that in this case goes after the verb, as I've already told you. And we continue with the apostrophe s, the s genitive. As you can see in brackets, a's B, that is the structure, is the same as saying that B belongs to or is related with A. What is B? B is normally the object. And A is the person who owns, who has something, right? So when you write A apostrophe S and then something else, you mean that that something belongs to A, right? So let's see some examples so that you understand it better. In singular, we don't say the room of my sister or the house of Mr. Salt. Why? Because they are people, and when we're talking about people who owns something, people who own something, people who have something, then we have to use the apostrophe S. So we will say my sister's room, Mr. Salt's house, Mrs. Adams' project, but foreign order or classical names, as for example Socrates, that ends in S, it's as if it was plural, right? For this reason, after the S, we write simply an apostrophe, right? So Socrates, apostrophe ideas, Tacitus, apostrophe prose, Cervantes, apostrophe Don Quixote, or Hector's Odyssey. In this case, you can see that Hector ends in R, so we are simply using an apostrophe and then an S, right? So Hector's Odyssey. The dog's color. In this case, we're dealing with animals, and with animals we also use the apostrophe S, right? So the dog's color, it means that the color belongs to the dog, or that the dog has a color, right? The turtle's shell. The government's rule. This is also, the apostrophe S is also used with groups of people, right? The government is a group of people. For this reason, we say the government's rule. The town council's rules. When we're talking about the town council, we're talking about the group of people who work in the town council, right? Consequently, we use apostrophe s. If we talk about the town hall, which is the building, you cannot use the apostrophe s because the town hall is the building, is an object. All right? I eat at Paul's. You can say I eat at Paul's if you mean a bar which belongs to Paul. In this case, you say I go to Paul's. It's very frequent in English, for example, that the pubs have this form, no? The name of the owner and then the apostrophe s, which maybe you remember that it became a fashion in some countries, right? Because it was very cool. It was very fashion, right? Very fashionable to write the name of the establishment, the name of the place with apostrophe s. So if you say I eat at Paul's, maybe you mean that you are eating at a bar, or maybe you are eating at Paul's house. For example, if we continue saying we meet at Shelley's, then maybe you mean that you meet at Shelley's pub, which is a pub, no? You simply say Shelley's, or maybe Shelley's home. I go to my sister's every Monday. If you say I go to my sister's every Monday, you mean that you are going to your sister's house. But you don't need to say house, right? Simply by saying go to my sister's, everybody's going to understand that you mean your sister's house. Henry VIII's marriages. You can also use apostrophe s, as you can see, with proper nouns, right? Even nouns of kings with the ordinal numbers. The woman next door's picture. You can also use it with phrases, right? The woman next door's picture. Next door's, sorry. The briefcase is Tom's. We also use the apostrophe s as a pronoun. If you say that the briefcase is Tom's, you mean that it's his briefcase, right? But you don't want to say his because you haven't mentioned his name before. For this reason, you have to identify him by saying Tom and then the apostrophe s. That means that it belongs to him. He's a friend of Julius. This is a double genitive. What is the meaning of this? This means that he is one of Julius' friends. It's a new dress of Susan's. All right, this is exactly the same. It's a new dress of Susan's. It means that it is one of the new dresses of Susan. But in this case, we don't use of, right? We use Susan with the apostrophe s, right? Double genitive. He's at the butcher's. When we are dealing with shops, it's also very frequent to use the apostrophe s after the name of the profession. In this case, the butcher, no? So he's at the butcher's. We buy in Harrods, Selfridges, which are the name of great stores, right? As I suppose you know. Now, what happens with plural nouns? Well, we have already seen it. I have already told you, no? In plural nouns, you have to use the apostrophe s after the s, the apostrophe after the s, but we don't use any other s, right? So the birds' songs, our parents' birthdays, the children's toys, the men's toilet, Jack and Karen's house or houses. This is interesting because if you say Jack and Karen's house or Jack and Karen's houses, you're talking about the house that belong to both of them, right? Jack and Karen. But imagine you say Jack's with apostrophe s and Karen's with apostrophe s houses. That means that each one of them own a house, right? So Jack's house and Karen's house. So be careful with apostrophe s because depending on the place, it may qualify just one person or two persons, as we have seen in this case, right? Some more examples in the image. Dickens novels, we have already seen, right? This is just as a reminder. Joe and Anne's children. Joe and Anne are their parents, right? Joe's and Anne's children. In this case, Joe's have his own children, children, as you can see in the image, and Anne also has her own children. So each one of them have different children. They are not common children, common kids for both of them, right? All right. And we continue with periods of time. It's also typical to use in English the apostrophe S with periods of time. For example, today's meetings, Sunday's trip, a week's holiday, or 10 minutes walk. You can see this image here. I need 1 week's holiday. All right. In this case, a holiday of 1 week, but we use the apostrophe S in a colloquial way, right? It's the same as if you say a 10 minutes walk. 10 minutes walk means a walk that takes 10 minutes, right? But it's much shorter if you say 10 minutes walk, right? Questions. It's also typically used in questions. For example, I'm not talking about apostrophe S, obviously. I'm talking about the interrogative pronoun that serves to ask the question and then give an answer using the apostrophe S, right? So, for example, whose project is this? Whose is this flat? Then the answer to these two questions could be, it's my sister's, it's my boss, it's our group's, no? Whose is this flat? It's my parents, for example, no? All right. Some more examples with whose dog is this? Be careful, because if you say whose with apostrophe S here, in fact, you are asking who is. That's the verb to be, right? So be careful, because it sounds the same. You can say whose and you can say whose, and it sounds the same. And of course, you may say, all right, how can we know the difference between one or the other one? Already, the only possibility to know the difference is just the environment, right? The context, your background. If you, for example, if you say, who's coming with us to the circus? Of course, you're not going to understand possession. You're going to understand a question with the verb to be, right? And if you say, whose dog is this? It's obvious that you are asking about possession. And this is all. If you like this channel, as ever, as I always tell you, sign up, right? To become part of this family in this channel and be able to reach the contents of the channel as soon as I upload them, right? Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed yourselves, and see you next week. Bye bye. Have a nice week.